The name is Erik Thor, and today we're doing an experiment. So this is just to test out my OBS settings and my live streaming and what I will be doing in the future with live streaming. Like I want to incorporate more super chat events, more abilities to comment and join in live. I want to do more perhaps community discussions together with other people on Discord. I want to encourage more questions and I want to encourage more discussion. So lately I've been in a kind of new phase, and I know it's meant a little less videos than usual, but it's also meant me getting out there a little bit more. This Sunday I attended an Mbti Meetup in Amsterdam, and in May I will be organizing my very first Mbti Meetup. So on 19th of May, anybody in the Netherlands or nearby can come join up for a discussion on flow types and flow psychology and the flow approach to the Mbti. So this new step for me includes becoming a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more open to collaborate and work together with other people. I think I'm gonna start to try to open up and let other people in and let other people influence my work. And that's a step outside of my comfort zone. And it's difficult for me to do these kind of projects. So I've been happy to have the support that I've had of other people in this process. Just this Monday, I did a collab together with Frank James. We did a podcast together, and I'm gonna link it in the chat. So anybody after the stream, you should go and watch this great discussion on flow types and on personality psychology and on objective personality and on all the different systems. I hope this will clarify what I'm doing and what my project is all about. Beyond that, today I want to talk about a little bit of my personal life and some things that I'm going through right now and some personal changes in my life. The first change is I'm gonna start a new job in May. I'm gonna be moving up to another company, like our company where I've been working is getting insourced, and so I'm gonna be starting at Rituals in the beginning of May, and it will mean some changes to my schedule, but it will still mean 32 hours. So at the moment I work 32 hours a week. I work part-time, and the rest of the time I devote to you all, to YouTube, to Patreon, to my website, and to developing my content. So personally I've been going through a few difficulties, creative blocks and struggles with making videos. You know, I've tried to record a few videos, but I felt like I want to find my voice again. And so I wanted to think about and question all about my work and how I go about it and what I want to do with it and where I want to take it long term. And I go through these phases sometimes where I like start to question everything. And actually, honestly, I'm always questioning everything. But still I want to remain relatively consistent, and I think I have as well. I've been posting out videos about 2 or 3 a week in average. I've had some weeks where I haven't been able to post anything, but hey, everybody has a vacation. Most of the time I'm quite consistent with my content, and I feel quite good about that. So I just gotta learn to allow myself... What happened? I think I just got another subscriber. Samara soon subscribed to my YouTube channel. Wow, that was a strong alert. You guys didn't hear it. I'm probably gonna turn it off. 1 second there. Okay. So if anybody subscribes now, a weird sound will bring, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but I'm still working on all the tech and all the stuff like that. I'm not very good at tech. Actually, I can do it, but I'm not very good with it. So I'm trying to put in more alerts and more subscriber notifications and things like that. Beyond, of course, my personal struggles and finding my own voice, I'm also looking at and working a lot on my content. I released the April version of my personality test on my website just recently. So we can take a look at that right now. So here on my website on erikthor.com, if you scroll down, there's a Take the Flow personality test link right there, or big red button. You can push it, it's okay, nothing will blow up. And here I've started to polish the questions even more, and tried to improve and make sure that they're as consistent with the cognitive functions as possible. I try to find the most pure, the most meaningful, the most relatable statement for every cognitive function. So every single question is meant to capture like the archetype of that cognitive function. So question number 1 tries to capture the archetype of extroverted intuition, investigating patterns and possibilities. Another question like improvisation and taking the day as it comes is meant to capture sensing and perceiving. And another question like at my worst I can become withdrawn, inattentive and detached. Well, that captures introverted intuitives. So one big addition here is a change in mindset. You know, I used to have a big confusion in myself on what the difference was between behavior in stress and insecurity. So I've come to realize that we have some cognitive functions in us that manifest as weaknesses in our life. You know, things we feel bad about, things we lack confidence in, things we struggle with and find difficult. And some things manifest as stress, like things that we can do when we are stressed, things that we tend to do when we are under stress. You know, an INFJ under stress can become cold and uncommunicative and can fall in the grip of introverted thinking. That's quite well captured already. But their main insecurity, if you talk about the INFJ's main insecurity, that's extroverted thinking actually. So there's a difference here in that introverted thinking is a stress pattern, like becoming cold, becoming detached as a way of coping with stress and with difficulty in overwhelming situations. And an insecurity like extroverted thinking, like trying to or feeling weak, or feeling like you're not strong enough, or struggling to assert yourself, or struggling to push out for what you believe in. So a lot of introverted feeling flow types have extroverted thinking as their core insecurity, and that means they struggle to stand up for themselves because they value harmony so much. So that's the conflict, and I will talk more about that in tomorrow's video, launching at about 6 o'clock. But introverted thinking is a stressor. So what that means is just a bad habit in our life. It can be a bad habit. All our stress functions are bad habits. All our weaknesses, they are things we struggle with and find difficult. Stress patterns are more things we do but probably shouldn't do, because they can be counterproductive to our values and can cause us to struggle to communicate with other people. Like when an INFJ falls in the grip of introverted thinking, they can struggle to open up and share their emotions with other people. And introverted thinking types naturally struggle with opening up and sharing their emotions with other people. So that's not quite too uncommon. So Miss Lynn has a question. Of course you can ask questions. Anybody in the chat, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks Miss Lynn for joining up, and hi Noor and hi Jillian. Glad to have you all here. Hope you're having a nice Thursday. Glad to already have 10-11 viewers. Remember, if you subscribe now, a weird sound should pop up. Okay, Miss Lynn, she was typed INFJ in high school. Then she took my test and she got INTJ. And her question is, would that be kind of like a mask that I wear outwardly? And is that why I type differently? So my first question for you is, do you think INFJ is your mask, or do you think INTJ is your mask? I made my personality test to kind of undress stereotypes and masks. So while on a traditional MBTI test, you're supposed to answer on how you want to see yourself and how you tend to see yourself, what you try to be. So a lot of people will get their type wrong in a normal personality test. You know, go on 16personalities.com, look through the questions. The first thing you'll notice is all the questions are about how you appear and how people would describe you and what you tend to often do. So this creates a lot of ambiguity, and yeah, it's meant to measure your mask or persona. The MBTI as it is today cares more about your persona or role in your current workplace or in where you are right now. So while a role can be relatively consistent, you know, you can stick to a role for a long time in your life. For a lot of people, our roles are constantly changing. Sometimes you will find yourself changing and going through a transition where you find yourself stop acting like an INFJ and start acting more like an INTJ. And that brings the question, which one was the real you and which one was the mask? Now, obviously, both of them could have been a mask. So maybe you're not an INFJ or maybe you're not an INTJ either. Maybe you're a completely different type. Often I found that INFJs, they tend to idealize being ENFPs, and ENFPs tend to idealize being INFJs. So a lot of INFJs out there are mistyped as ENFP, and a lot of ENFPs out there are mistyped as INFJ. And there's nothing strange about this. I mean, if you have something you strive towards and idealize and value, of course you're going to try to do that as much as possible. And then when you get a question like this, like spending a lot of time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas, you might be inclined to say you agree simply because you want to agree, simply because you put a lot of work in it. Of course, a lot of the time you don't do this, a lot of the time you struggle with this, and a lot of the time you feel uncertain about these things, but you try. And so the question is trying enough? Is the effort enough? Is it enough that you try to do it and that you feel you do it often? Or is it more important that you actually do it all the time? So you think INTJ is your mask? It's possible. I couldn't say right now. You'd have to tell me. You can always link your test results when you take them on my website. You can always save the link and you can go back anytime. You can send it to me. So if you go to my website, something nifty I just put in there is like this chat button. So now, if you go to my website, you take the personality test, you get your result, then you can click on this link. You get this pop-up. Hi there. Welcome to our website. My website, not our. And then you can enter a message. And I don't know if that's actually true. I can take quite long to answer. But I do follow it on the day, and if I'm awake, yeah, I'll answer. And if I'm around, and if I have time, I'll answer. And you can send your link to me. You can ask me to look at it, you know. Hey Erik, I got this result. What can you tell me about it? Now, obviously, like I have a limited amount of time, and if you ask for these kind of services, I really encourage you to visit my Patreon website and leave a Patreon donation. So feel free to leave a small contribution, you know, go to my website and press become a Patreon. And typically anybody who donates more than $5, I'll try my best to take time for short questions and to discuss things with you as much of the time I have. And if you donate 10 or 20 or more, it's also possible to book in discussions and coaching and Skype sessions where we can discuss things more in depth. And if you send me a video or record a video of yourself, I can also use that as a basis of typing. Now, I like to type people and I consider myself quite good at it. So what I do is I look at your results on the personality test. I look at your response on my prepared questions on the video, and I look at your body language, and I try to type you based on a mix of these three instruments. It's not 100%, but it's a great aid, and it can tell you, I can give you a report that will give you some deeper insight into your personality type. Jillian says, I'm an INFP with extroverted thinking type parents and sister. I only just discovered that I'm an F. I thought I was INTP for so long. I understand myself so much better now. And yeah, a lot of people, introverted feeling types, confuse themselves as introverted thinking types, when in reality they are introverted feeling types under stress. So if an INFP is for a long time in a pattern of stress, you know, they're constantly overworked, they constantly feel pushed, they constantly are in this position where they're working themselves so hard, and they're emotionally, especially, maybe they're in a lot of conflicts, there's a lot of drama around them, you know, and in those situations the INFP can become quite cold and detached. They can tell themselves, I don't care, I don't have any emotions, I don't have any feelings. But of course that's not the truth, you know. As an introverted feeling type, you naturally have and think about feelings. You absorb everyone's emotions. Their feelings are always there. Just because you repeat to yourself like a mantra that you don't care doesn't mean you don't. The emotions are still there, the feelings are still there. So yeah, the question is, how can you say you don't care and that you don't feel if you really do? So hopefully understanding that you're a person that tends to absorb the emotions of other people, you can start to listen to yourself a little bit more. And here's the problem, a lot of introverted feeling types don't really listen to themselves. So they deny their own feelings, or they tell themselves, my emotions are worthless and nobody cares anyway, so there's no point. But a huge point of growth for introverted feeling types is opening up. So Miss Lynn, she has her own YouTube channel and asked for typing, and yeah, that's great. Like if you have a link of a video of yourself, feel free to share it with me and I'll do my best to help out with it. And of course I try to reserve this first and foremost for patrons, but yeah, I'm happy to help as much as I can. Yeah, thanks so much for saying that. Yaya asks, can you please explain the difference between being empathetic and being empathic in terms of being INFJ specifically? That's a funny question, an interesting question. So I was grilled on that one this Sunday. I mentioned introverted feeling had a relationship to empathy, and with this I of course include INFJs. Most of you should know already, I group INFJs as introverted intuitive and introverted feeling types. So I say at our best, in a state of flow, INFJs have introverted feeling and should nurture that, and I feel that is our source of our empathy. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel any type can be empathetic. That means any type can feel empathy and can take on other people's emotions and can see other people's perspective. Now, only an INFJ or an INFP does this in flow, and only an INFP or an INFJ does this with confidence and with passion, you could say, or meaning. The INFJ and the INFP will describe greater meaning and purpose to the people's feelings. They will reflect on and define and try to understand people's emotions. They'll try to go, what are you feeling and why are you feeling this way and what does this feeling mean? They will try to dig into your emotions and introspect. So they have this desire and this energy and this passion for going into and understanding emotions, and in doing so finding a way to help heal emotions. Introverted feeling types tend to manifest when they're in a heroic state of mind as healers. People in society that heal and cure wounds and ills in society. That means they have this strong feeling inside of them of harmony. They have this strong concept inside of them of peace and what it means to have harmony, what it means to be at peace. And they emanate outwardly this passion and purpose. Now, we'll talk more about this in my video tomorrow. Miss Lynn links her YouTube channel. Let's look at it.
Hi.
Oh my god. There's a big intro and spooky filters. Um, interesting video. Spotlight. Well, that was a good performance. Sorry, I'm not gonna stream that to everyone. But I'm happy to look at these things. I love to read people. I love to analyze everyone. You know, me and my girlfriend, we do this every day. You know, we go through and watch TV and interviews and celebrities, and we type basically everyone. So she has this gift. You know, she can just look at a person and just know which type they are. And she can never really explain it. But she's really good at just knowing in her gut how to type. And I feel a lot of people have that approach. Everyone types differently. Some people, you know, they naturally make patterns and connect dots and see patterns in their mind. You know, they can build up collages full of people and people of the same type, and they can see differences. Those people go to that collage, those people go to that collage, and they can just intuitively notice. So I felt I've never had that. I don't work like that. I have to think about it. I have to introspect, and I have to process, and I have to explain inside of me. Like, I have to process it. I have to compare it with other people. I need to go through and actively list and write down different people and videos so I can go back to them to make sure that I connect it. But I'm really good at explaining my typing and how I type people, and I feel that's also very important. You know, a lot of people will just comment on a video and say, "You're that type." And I feel that's kind of rude. You know, when somebody comes on my video or YouTube channel and goes, "Hey, you're an ESFJ," or "Hey, you're an ESTP," you know, dot. Because I feel it's kind of rude, because I feel people deserve some kind of explanation and some kind of insight into why you think that way and what made you make that assumption. Otherwise, I can only take your assumption at face value. You know, what can I say about it? Billy Bojo Crab says, "I'm doing some studying on personality types, and I was caught off guard by the opinion that ENTPs are cold, and I thought ENTPs were incredibly good at putting themselves in other people's shoes and seeing things from another person's perspective. Also, do you think that ENTPs feel like they deserve to be in a position of power, you know, a bit of superior look of themselves?" And one more thing, a few ENTPs I've talked to discuss a vivid imagination they use to create mini stories in which they are powerful, godlike, or genuinely in a dreamy world in which they have what they usually... Oh my god, you're nailing it. You're nailing the ENTP condition right there. Okay, first, ENTPs can be just as empathetic as anyone else, but a problem with them is actually they can disregard other people's emotions, and they can disregard their own emotions. A lot of the time when an ENTP goes to a difficulty, they will simply say, "No, I don't feel that, I don't care, I don't have that emotion." You know, their tendency is often to pretend emotions are not there and don't happen and are not important. That is not to say that ENTPs do not like to analyze people and explain people. ENTPs don't necessarily like to go into the emotions you're feeling, but they like to explain you. So they like to know your patterns and writs and behaviors, what you tend to do when you do this and that, and what this and that action means. And they can use that to actually develop some form of empathy. You know, by connecting patterns on your behavior, they can also make deductions on your emotions. And that's a way for them to master their stress or weakness in life. The more they can do this, the more actively they can do this, they can develop some form of empathy and interpersonal intelligence. Now, what I feel you really nailed is the ENTP's tendency to fantasize and daydream of being God. You know, I think a lot of ENTPs have this dream or daydream of being God or somebody with superpowers or somebody amazing. A lot of ENTPs I know like create these fictional scenarios in which they hold like superpowers, and when they're so super intelligent, or where they develop super machines, or where they are super strong or can fly or whatever like that. And they enjoy like these fantasies about themselves. Extroverted thinking types, including ENTPs, love power and love inspiring other people by being the best. They want to be the best, they want to be the fastest, they want to be the smartest, they want to dominate the group and lead the group as the number one example of skill and ability. They love being the best, they want to be the best as efficiently as possible. So they want to be the best while exerting as little effort as possible. That's extroverted thinking and thinking perceiving combined right there. Yaya says, can you name 4 famous people that you're pretty sure are INFJ? You mentioned Oprah in one of your videos, and she's mistyped. She's an ENFJ. She is not an INFJ. That's number 1. She's not an INFJ. Sorry if I created some kind of misunderstanding there. I can show you on my website a list I wrote. Yeah, it does sound kind of cringy, I know. But hey, we all do cringy things sometimes. The funny thing with ENTPs is like they are the people that think they are super cool when in fact they're super nerdy. And I think that's adorable. Frankly, that's adorable. Here we have it, celebrity personalities. If you go to my website, and sadly you can only do it from my website, not from my phone, there's this drop down menu with a link to the forum, to the chat forum, and to the celeb library. Here's Excel with a bunch of different personality types, and you can search for basically anything here. You can use the search bar here. Let's search for INFJs, and let's see what we find here. Benedict Cumberbatch I like to reference. Björk I put in here, Kate Blanchett, Charlie Chaplin, Dumbledore, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jessica Biel, Jane Goodall. Yeah, so these are just some patterns that I made and some theories that I made on different personality types. Some of them fictional, some of them real. I just put a bunch in there so you can browse any personality type and you can watch videos about them and study them and decide for yourself, does this make sense or not? And if it doesn't make sense, once again, feel free to use the chat function here and send me a message and let me know, hey, that person should be that type and I think you got that one wrong. And I'll look into it and I'll take your feedback with me. Hey Bethany, thanks so much for joining up. Glad to have you here. A human and her higher self says, I think a lot of people take these personality tests with interaction styles in mind, meaning who and how they are around other people. Everyone has a persona to some degree, but it's helpful to keep in mind who you are when no one is looking, the person only your family would know or closest of friends. Yes, yes, yes. I would go into politics and I would put on this outgoing persona and I would be super enthusiastic and passionate. Then I would come home and I would crash and I would be dead and I would isolate myself from people for 5 days and everybody would be like, hey Erik, you must be an extrovert. And the social media today create and reproduce illusions. You guys only see me when I'm active and energetic and when I'm making YouTube videos. You don't see me when I'm off stream. And I think I'm gonna have to do something about that. So what I want to do is, for anyone who is a part of the Patreon page, I want to share more behind the scenes content and just with quick snapshots and videos and thoughts, no matter what mood I am in or what I'm going through. I just want to say hi sometimes or share my mental process and something I'm thinking about. And I hope this will be a way for me to be a bit more open and transparent with myself. I feel a lot of the time I will hide and isolate myself when I feel bad or when I don't have energy. But maybe if I can be more open with myself when I don't have energy, I can also be more active. And I'll link my website again for anybody who wants to know, and I'll link my Patreon. And most importantly, I will link you guys our Discord chat forum. Yeah, do a vlog. I love vlogs. Yeah, I love vlogs too. After watching comedians in cars getting coffee, my intuition screamed that Jerry is an INFJ. Then when I found out Dave typed him that way too, I felt like maybe I can see some people clearly. Yeah, that could definitely be. I know that sometimes I think we exaggerate similarities with people we like. So if we like a person, we're more likely to want to relate to a person. And the thing is, you might mistype a person because you confuse personality with mood. Another person might have the same mood or energy you do. You know, they might not be the most passionate, or they might be a little bit more prone to melancholy, or they might be a little more down, or yeah, if you're very enthusiastic, they might be very enthusiastic too. But any personality type can be enthusiastic. So don't confuse personality with mood. That's one of the dimensions I'm exploring today. Don't confuse personality with mood. Don't confuse personality with skill or ability. Personality is not skill and ability. You can develop that. You know, you can have INFJs that are terribly unempathetic because they don't recognize or listen to their own emotions or the emotions of other people. Maybe they get very self-absorbed and they only listen to their own feelings. Or maybe they've gotten very confused and warped in their image and they can't properly read or understand other people's emotions. I was analyzing an INFJ character recently, and something really interesting happened, and I found myself doing this as well. He was going through one of his dark phases, you know, where he felt life was heavy and he could never smile and he could never be happy. But then he got into this discussion with somebody who was always smiling. The fact was, of course, her smile was a mask. You know, she pretended to be happy, she cracked jokes, and she made fun of every situation to deal with the pain and confusion she felt inside. And he was like, wow, I wish I could do that as well. And she told him, actually, you shouldn't wish for that. I'm terribly confused. I don't know what the real me is anymore. I fake everything and I never take anything seriously. And I can never listen to or hear my own feelings anymore. And he answers basically, wow, I'm so impressed by your skills and abilities and how you can do this, and I really wish I could do that as well. He just brushed off the pain she has because he only recognized the pain he had. And I think that can happen. I think introverted feeling types can be self-absorbed, and I don't think that's necessarily empathetic. Live stream 24/7. Oh no, help! Like live stream of Erik Thor sleeping, live stream of Erik Thor eating, drinking coffee in the morning. Yay! That's so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun. The other day, learning with harp with Kristelin. Oh hey Kristelin, nice to have you back. The other day we had lunch with my aunt and uncle, and it was suddenly super clear to me that my aunt is an ESFP like me. I didn't tell my mom because she doesn't really like my aunt. Oh. Well. ESFPs are honestly so cool. I have basically two impressions of ESFPs. First, most of the ESFP guys I've met have been super annoying but also fun at the same time. They've been super energetic and at some point like annoying because they're so energetic and so active and always want to do something. The girls have been a lot more easy because they've been a lot more adaptable. Like they've been super flexible. Like they've always been like smiling through any situation. They've always had so much energy and so much inspiration. And you know, something I've noticed about ESFPs is, you know, they can appear like intuitives because they're interested in everything, you know. Of course, if you start getting to the logic at it at some point and try to explain it too much or go too deep into it, they'll start staring at you blankly. But most of the time, they'll be like, wow, that's fascinating, and I want to know about that too. You know, they're interested in basically everything they encounter. Falls to Shine says, I feel like an INFP. I am an INFJ. And I thought about it recently, and actually I've thought about this many times. The main reason I don't appear like an INFJ is because I'm not very confident. You know, it's true, I'm not very confident in myself. And a lot of the INFJ archetype and persona is supposed to be very confident, you know, very stubborn, very set in their way, very like passionate, and very much my feelings, my values, my conviction, my path, my vision, and nothing else. But I've been very modest, and I've been brought up by perceiving parents, and I've been in a position where I've had to compromise a lot, and where I can't and I haven't been allowed to get too deep into my NJ or FJ. Now, I've always been in the process of finding my way back to confidence and becoming more confident. But I think part of that will also come from allowing myself to be confident and allowing myself to care and allowing myself to be passionate. A lot of the time I've noticed I control every single emotion inside of me, every feeling, every thought. I am super controlled and super restrained, super set. That I basically monitor every single feeling inside of me is this appropriate? Can I say this? Can I do this? Can I act like this? And I find myself shutting down myself constantly because, you know, I don't allow or tolerate much in myself that is real and that is natural and authentic. So I have to learn to be more authentic, and I have to learn to be more open with what I'm really feeling, and I have to permit myself to do what I want and express myself, even if that means sometimes going a bit on an ego trip or going a little bit stronger into myself, even if it means becoming a little bit more set and showing a little bit more backbone and strength in what I say. But hey, that's a journey, you know, you don't go from 0 to 100. That's my hero's journey. Finding confidence, not just trust in myself, you know, I trust in my work and my abilities, but I don't have confidence to speak out about them with passion, and I don't have confidence to push for what I want. But that's where I'm getting at, and perhaps that's why I do YouTube, you know, that's a step in that direction. Wow, we have 27 people in here right now. And Miss Lynn says, it's taken me 39 years to do that. Lol. Yeah, okay, I can imagine it taking a lot of 10, 20 years before I get there too. Honestly, I think my visions, and I have quite grand and quite big visions. I obviously am not doing erikthor.com as a small frivolous interest. What I'm doing here is so important. It means so much to me. And you know, I've been put in positions where people have said, hey, I can give you a full-time job in a meaningful and a fascinating position. I've been like, no, my work is most important to me. What I do is and means something to me. What I do here, I feel is very, very important. So I am doing something that has to do with flow psychology. I think most of you have got that already. I believe that everyone has a flow state, a heroic version of themselves, you at your best. And I am digging deep into this. I'm researching all the archetypes. I am figuring out every personality trait. I'm figuring out and writing down every different perspective, trying to understand what the meaning of life is. And you know, I've came to realize that the path to happiness is different for every single personality type and can be tracked to their cognitive functions. You know, your path to happiness as a philosopher is to figure out the mysteries of the universe and to explain to yourself how the universe works. And if you can do that, you'll get into this flow state then. You will gain, and this is more universal, you will gain awareness. Every personality type is searching for the same thing, awareness, which is to not only know things, but to find satisfactory knowledge about things. To not just have answers, but to find the answers that you seek. To satisfactorily explain and know what is. And I found every person's path to awareness is different. You cannot streamline and say this is how you become wise to every single personality type. You know, for an ESFP, that's going to be go out and have experiences, go out and meet people, go out and do stuff. And that info, that's going to give you awareness. For an ENFP, that's going to be go out and try out new things. You go out to new places, discover things no person has seen. If you can do that, if you can learn to try new things, if you can find new paths, if you can change the world, transform the world, that will give you awareness. Every person has a different path to essentially what is a feeling of power, which is you're able, you're proud of yourself, you have something you feel good about, you have direction, you know where you're going in life. Everybody needs direction. Everybody needs to know they're going somewhere and that they have come from somewhere. You know, for an SJ, that can be I've come from somewhere. For an NP, that can be I have somewhere new to go. I have a new place to visit, a new thing to try out that I haven't done before. For an NJ, that can be I have a big idea that I want to explore that will take many, many years. And for me, this project, erikthor.com, is going to take 10, 20, 30, a lifetime work to finally complete, you know. when I'm in my 50s, you're going to be reading through my really annoying theses with abstract jargon, going deep into these things, and you're going to think, oh, he's gone crazy, finally. He lost it. Right now, what it is experimental. It's personality test, it's colorful archetypes, it's studies into persona, into motivation, into value. Tomorrow, what will it be tomorrow? Tomorrow it will be, you know, going into a workplace or a team and figuring out and helping people figure out themselves and helping people know where to go next. You know, giving people a roadmap, helping people gain context into their own feelings and emotions, helping people know their present state and current steps and where they are right now and what they can do practically in this moment, how to develop themselves, how to grow, how to improve in things they struggle with, you know, how to gain on and take on the intelligences of other personality types, how as an INTP to get better at interpersonal relationships without necessarily giving up the values that are most important to you as an INTP. Billy Babio Crab says, does each flow type have their own direction of belief, i.e. a god or hard science? I don't believe belief is tied into personality type. Belief is mindset, so it's what you tell yourself. It's your mood, you could call it. So I feel a personality trait or a cognitive function can be summed up in and can have more or less accurate representations of itself. You know, as an FJ type, you can take on the traits of a giver or caretaker. But this can take on many different forms, and your definition of what caregiving is can change. For you as a religious person, it can mean to be a pastor. Whoop, another subscriber. I really gotta turn down that sound. That basically freaked me out. Okay, Michelle has subscribed. Thanks for joining up, Michelle. Happy to have you here. So what I was saying was, what was I saying? Yeah, for a pastor it can be to take care of the people in your church. For a doctor it can be to treat sick patients. For a mom it can be to help clothe and take care of your kids and help them achieve their dreams or to be happy in some way or form. For a partner it can be something completely different. All of them tend to have these beliefs and these mindsets and tend to work through these things, but their answers on what it means to take care of other people, that's also a reflection of their growth, because you can have better and worse and more accurate and more harmful ideas about what taking care of another person means. At its worst, it can mean to enable another person. At its best, it can mean to support another person in becoming the best version of themselves. Bethany says, I think you're plenty stubborn when needed. Yeah, obviously I am an NJ and I am an FJ, and I can only remind myself of that so many times. I will always set, and this is a problem of course, helping other people above being authentic and real with them, and I will set my vision above other possibilities and other options and other things I could explore. I'm so loyal, it hurts, and I've come to realize that I get attached to everyone around me. In politics it took me like 4 years of spiraling in an unhealthy direction because I was so loyal to my party and to the people in it. Like, I couldn't give them up no matter how much I was killing myself to help. And the same goes for my vision. I've had this idea in my head since I was 13 that I would develop a theory that would change the world and would make people have more harmony and more peace. And I've been slavishly working towards that every single day since then. I've had a path in my mind my whole life, and I've been walking towards that. And I've never been inclined to give up on that. I've never said to myself, no, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go be a cook. Okay, maybe on a bad day. I've thought about it, but I've never done it. If XSXPs are the doers, then XNXJs, like us, are the non-doers, the people who never do anything and who think about doing things forever. And hey, that's a trap, and that's very real to me. You think about and you plan it and you say one day I'm gonna do it, but when are you gonna do it? Yeah. So one thing I've been working on lately is defining these universal ideals and the development of a person and the hero's journey. So which steps of growth do we go through and do we need to get through to develop ourselves and to become happier? Are there any universal things that are important to all personality types? What can be said about our development and how we develop and what is most important to us? And when is it most important? Erik the cook, Thor. Jesse, we have to cook. I'm a doer for sure. I cannot be stopped, says Christy Lynn, the ESFP. That's nice there. Cannot be stopped. Falls to Shine says, sorry, something I meant to ask. Have you an interest in using Myers-Briggs typology to not only figure out how we all function, but also why? Of course. So your question is, where does personality types come from? Is it true that all IXTX types have emotionally distant parents? No, I don't think so. But it is true that a lot of people with emotionally distant parents will compensate by either becoming super emotionally transparent and passionate, or by also adjusting and taking on a persona of being emotionally distant. You know, if you felt invalidated your whole life and you felt that other people are constantly nagging on you for your emotions and your feelings, of course that can change you, and as a person it can make you more reserved. Hi Ramble On, thanks, glad to have you here, happy to hear that. Sometimes I do before thinking. Well, that must have some very interesting consequences. Have you ever felt worried about the amount of time you spend in autopilot? I mean, I feel sometimes I cannot control myself, you know, I cannot stay conscious, I cannot stay aware of my own actions and my own behavior. I feel like sometimes I get into this trap where I'm just like binging TV or books or whatever it is, you know. Let me just show you all something. I've been reading a lot this year and I don't know how it happened, but I've come to realize I've gone a bit crazy. So I set a reading challenge for about 30 books this year, and that's kind of my average. But something happened this year, and I've read 18 books this year. So in 4 months, I've read 18 books. That means if I keep this up, I will have read 52 books by the end of this year. And something you can tell happened here was Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson appeared, and god damn it, I ended up... The last books I read were Warbreaker, Skyward, Map of Days, Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and that's where I'm at now. I just came out of Oathbringer. And wow, what a book series that was. Reading books, it's like really digging into the thinking patterns of different people. Like a good writer that can truly capture a character can tell you so much about a person. When you talk to a person in real life, of course they will tell you things, but you don't know what's really happening inside and why they're saying what they're saying. But Brandon Sanderson can really just get people, and I think Brandon Sanderson is an ENTP. I know he took the test and I know he got INTJ, but I think he's an ENTP. He seems to be able to know, and I was fascinated because he had an INFJ character in one of his books, and I was just so amazed by how he captured the thoughts and feelings of this INFJ. And I was reading through it and I was like, this is me, I've thought this to myself a million times. Oh my god, I hate that about myself. And he does that too. It was so annoying to read it. Yeah, Terry Goodkind is great as well. I read The Sword of Truth and all those things when I was much younger, like 13, 14, 15, you know, my fantasy phase. 3 INTPs in here, gotta be a record. Well, INTPs sure love the internet. Do INFJs particularly struggle to open up and to be vulnerable? Yes, yes, yes. INFJs are remarkably silent about their own feelings and very difficult to read and very much struggle to speak their mind. They struggle to share their feelings and assert their own values because they don't want to cause disharmony or conflict. But even when they're in a good state of mind, they often don't share or reflect on or notice what they are in or what they are feeling. They can be very detached to their own emotions. They can be confused with what's their emotion and what's the emotion of other, and they can be too focused on. I close the door. Hello. Yeah. My girlfriend just came home. INFJs can struggle very much to be emotionally open. Do INFJs have ADHD aspects? I think any personality type can have ADHD aspects, and that's my other note. I've told you, personality type is not a mood, it's not a mindset, it's not a skill, but it's also not a disability. It's not a cognitive disability. You're not a certain type because you're unable to do a certain thing. A personality type is not a weakness or an inability to do something. It's not being unable to have empathy. It's not being unable to be outgoing. It's not being unable to stand up for yourself. You can learn to do anything. You can develop yourself. You can develop any kind of abilities or skills if you're a healthy, normal person. But some people have cognitive disabilities that make it very hard for them. You know, people with ADHD, they can't focus. Even if they want to focus, they can't focus. You know, there's INFJs out there that can't focus. There's ENFPs out there that can't focus. There's the ESTPs out there that can't focus. And inability says nothing about your personality type. It just says you have a block somewhere, you have a struggle somewhere, you have a difficulty in your life. Sometimes you're going to be able to grow out of it. Sometimes you can develop and fix it. Often a lot of people get better when they get older or thanks to some kind of medication. Other times you're going to need help and support your entire life. Tools, external support from others, you know, other things that can help you in all of this. So a personality type is not disability, and I've told you now what it isn't, but what is it then? Personality is flow. Personality is who you are at your best. It's what you enjoy. It's what you like and feel the best about in yourself. It's who you are when you are in the best state of mind. It's what I noted down just earlier. It's what makes you feel satisfied, what makes you feel proud about yourself, what you feel most brave about, what you feel most balanced in, what you feel you value more than anything. And hopefully the personality test I've written will capture that and will help you figure that out. Or maybe it will give you some basic advice you can use to figure it out. With that in mind, I want to start wrapping up this stream. Thanks everyone for joining in. Hope to see you all in the next live stream or video tomorrow at 6. We're going to do a video on introverted feeling and on INFPs and INFJs and on standing up for yourself and setting boundaries for your feelings. So hope you all tune in for that. See you all. Thanks for joining in and have a nice evening and day wherever you are.